7%, yeah.
When you go to 26 to 35, it comes to 32%.
32%, yeah.
Then we have 36 to
45, which
yes.
is 22%.
Yes. Now that is drawn from the essentially from the structure of the national population.
Right.
But there is a distinct issue that we established from the sample size that we had picked out. You are going to realize, secondly, we indicated those who have confirmed to be registered voters and not. Then we also looked at the religious structure from Protestants to Muslims to Catholics and those who did not declare. This is to ensure that the sample that we pick is representative. For example, if you look at that age group bracket of, say, between 18 and 25, you're going to find a lot of young people, maybe people just completed high school, maybe people are in small-scale businesses, people are in colleges, people are starting off in life in different aspects. And like you're also going to find a majority of either those who are in the border sector would fall in that bracket. When you go to that from 26 to 35, that's also a different age set that represents different dynamics of our population. Then above 36 to 45, that's again a totally different group that you're going to find established professionals, you're going to find established business people, and that kind of a structure. When you go to, say, between now 46 and 65, you're going to find a lot of now elderly people. You're going to find now the elders in the villages, you know, mainly opinion shapers in various segments, prominent leadership in the churches and the mosques and all that. So we feel when you pick that kind of a sample, you are able to essentially pick what would be a reflection of the entire population within that the segment. That's number one. Then the second issue is there is the idea of minimizing your margin of error. I want to give you a simple example that our viewers can understand. Assuming Lookup TV has 1,000 employees. If I pick one employee, say Brian, and I want to ask a question like, are you satisfied with, say, your working hours?
Exactly.
If I only pick Brian, then I am going to have 100% outcome. It means the answer can only be yes or no.
No.
If I pick two, then I'm going to most likely have either 2 yeses or 2 no's, or 1 yes and 1 no.
So 50-50 or 100%?
Yeah, 50-50 or 100% either way. If I pick 3, then the results will change. But if I pick, say, like 5 out of 1,000, perhaps maybe I've only picked employees only from the production department, or maybe from the reporting department. So that again is not reflective of the entire population working for Lookup TV. But if I expand, so you're going to find if I pick, say, 5, my margin of error is going to be very high, probably in excess of 40%. If I pick 15 employees out of the 1,000, then you're going to find out the margin of error is going to be very reduced. Because now you're going to have people from the management to the different departments almost covering the entire organization. Now, at that stage, you find if your margin of error has reduced, say, significantly to about 5%, it doesn't matter now anymore. Even if you are now to interview all the 1,000, chances are almost 99.9% that the outcomes are not going to change drastically.
Exactly. So
simple random sampling ensures, the idea is to pick a population segment that is fairly representative of the entire population, and that would minimize the margin of error. So in our survey, our margin of error was plus or minus 3%, with a 95% confidence level. So that is really that is really representative. And I want to give you maybe a broader example. That's why you find even in surveys like maybe opinion polls, even say in large countries like the US, with a population of in excess of 400 million, a sample size of between 1,000 and 3,000 is usually enough
To carry
You
out
don't need to
that
poll 1 million people in the US for you to get the actual situation. Okay. The idea is when you are designing the population structure or the representation of the respondents, make sure that at least all the critical segments of the population are covered.
All right.
Yes.
Now, talking about all the critical segments of the population are covered,
yes.
I'd like to understand that now we mentioned that there's different age groups.
Yes.
18 to 25, 26 to 35.
Yes.
Then is it the number, the number that we are using, or rather, if we choose people between the age of 18 to 25,
yes,
is it the same number that you're going to choose between 26 to 35?
We again look at the county population structure. No, we start from this data that we have from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics.
Okay.
Currently, we have the bulk of our national population actually is below 18 years. Then the second cohort that has the highest population is that bracket of between 18 and 25.
Okay.
And then the second, the other lot, no, actually 20, because you see 18 to 25 is about an age difference of 7 years inclusive. When you go to, no, that's 9 years. When you go to 26 to 35, that's 10 years. So if you are to look at the chart of the national population, it usually looks like almost a pyramid like that. That's why we have the least population above 65 years, then a significantly bigger population between, say, 45 and 65, then a bigger population between, say, 26 and 35, and the biggest population now, that's the structure. So when we are picking the sample, you don't want, like if you, like in most counties, we're working with a population of between 1,050 and say 1,070. Okay. You don't want to pick out of that 500 people from the age bracket of 65.
Yeah.
And again, you don't want to pick 1,000 people from the age bracket of, so that population structure is also informs how many people do we pick from each age group to be again representative. Right. Because there is what we call weighting, to which of those age groups adds the greatest weight. So if we are looking at, when you break it down again to percentages, assuming that age bracket of, say, 18 to 25 represents, say, 30% of the entire population. So we pick 30% of the 1,000 respondents must be from that age group. Then now we distribute again from the students, from those who are staying home, from young mothers, from, you know, the entire structure. Okay. If you go to the next bracket, the same thing. If that age bracket of 26 to 35 represents say 29% or maybe 25%, then the 25% of the respondents must be from that bracket. Okay. If above 65% represents 5%, 5% of 1,000 would be how many people? 5 people? No, 50.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so 5% of 1,000 people would be 50. So it means at least we must have 50 respondents in that age bracket above 65. So that's how we pick the samples.
All right. So each county had about 1,051
yes, between 1,050 and 1,070 respondents.
All right.
Yes.
Now let's look at we looked at two things: development and approval.
Yes.
Why approval?
It is important. You see, you see, governors are elected leaders, and being elected leaders, they are put there, or they serve at the will and at the behest of the population. Ordinarily, by the time somebody is elected into office, there are expectations from the population, and for us, it is important to know whether the individual occupying the office of the governor is meeting your expectations or not. As an individual, are you satisfied with who is your governor, say for Kiambu or Murang'a or Kwale? Because that, again, is important to assess based on that satisfaction, whether that is an individual they would wish to retain in office in the event elections were called. Okay. And that parameter also comes in handy to enable the population plan better. If the majority of the population is dissatisfied with the performance of that particular governor, it would be a good entry point for the population to consider who they would want to elect, whether they want to retain that individual or a new person. Now, when it comes to development, to us, again, this was extremely important because devolution is really like the biggest, the biggest transformation that this country achieved through the 2010 Constitution. For the first time, we have devolved units that are fully functional governments in all the 47 regions, and Mwananchi now has had 8 or 9 years of assessing what has been going on and benefiting from what was expected of devolution. So the development parameter, again, development means different things to different people. You're going to realize that age bracket of between 18 and 25, to them, development is a very different ballgame. Perhaps their interest would primarily be on what job creation opportunities has this county government been able to establish for us? What kind of infrastructure have they put in place to facilitate our education or the furtherance of our higher education and all that? When you go to the other bracket, say between 26, say even up to 65, these are people who are very interested in infrastructure. Because probably you're going to find these are essentially family people. So they're interested in the availability of the provision of water. There is the critical component of healthcare. There is the critical component of agriculture. There is the critical component of trade and industry and manufacturing and all those issues. So when we break it down, like the questionnaire on development was informed by the functions that are allocated to county governments from Schedule 10 of the Constitution. So we assess that particular governor based on what people think their governor has achieved as per the schedule, as per the functions that are allocated to county governments. So you may find that the younger bracket may not be very keen on, say, issues of agriculture because maybe most of them are still not feeding themselves, so, or they are not into farming and that kind of things. They may not also be very interested in healthcare because they are still under the care of maybe guardians or parents, and it is really not their responsibility. But for parents, healthcare is extremely important, whether they have young children or they have adult children and all that. The issue of roads, I told you, like that bracket where you're going to find the business community and the professionals. So if you have a lawyer in Nairobi who comes from Migori, they are very interested to know that there's a road infrastructure that they can drive comfortably to their grandmother's home. So those are the parameters we're looking at. So ultimately, if we have a question, say, on agriculture, we're going to get all the responses from all the, say, 1,060 respondents. Then we have on water, health, and all the other components. Then we do the aggregate. So the score you're seeing there, talking about, say, the development score, say, for an individual like Professor Kivutha Kibwana, when he is ranked 80, it means we were asking these individuals to rank him on a scale of 1 to 10. What do you think is development score? So it is an aggregate of all the 10 functions that are allocated to county governments. Based on all the responses, then we get the average. So it's a fairly elaborate and complex process, actually, to end up with this kind of data or this kind of reports.
It is very complex because before you answered that, I was just thinking, if at all a certain governor has focused mostly on the youth. And when you talk to the youth about assessing him in terms of development, they'll say he has done so much for them. But when you're talking to these other age brackets, let's say 35 to 40 something, then they have not seen that because probably infrastructure when it comes to healthcare, it is not there. Then this governor might end up disputing, you know, whatever we are having as being ranked probably not best performing when it comes to that. So is that not then becomes a bone of contention?
No. One of the most refreshing things that I'm very happy about is since we launched this report on Monday, if there was anything in that report that was not a reflection of or near the actual reality on the ground, believe you me, I would be in a lot of trouble. But so far, I have not received any complaints from any of the 47 governors.
Are they not just waiting for the right time for?
That's okay, because I mean we have data to justify. Because we have really no interest. When we went there on our own motion. When we conducted this research, actually, like all the 47 governors across the country came to learn about this report on Monday, like every other Kenyan. None of the governors knew that we were in their counties last month conducting a research. And that allows us objectivity and impartiality. We don't want to report to you, no, we are sending a team to Mombasa County to do a research on 1 or 2. So we did that entirely independently, and we are extremely happy with the results, because what we published is what we got from the people. It is not our own making.
What the people think about a particular government.
I normally tell people, information is extremely powerful. What you do with it is entirely up to you. If you are dissatisfied or you think that report is not aligned to your thinking, that's really up to you. If you think you can use that report either to improve on areas that your electorate or the people you serve are dissatisfied with you, then that's again up to you. But primarily, that information would enable anybody, especially a leader, to make decisions. If you are still leading, maybe what do you need to do to maintain that? If you are trailing, then perhaps you would want to understand which areas you need to improve on. Yes.
Before we go for a break, let's look at. Does this actually, will it shape what we are looking at in terms of elections coming next year?
Yes, I believe this would go a very long way, because I want to believe, for example, there are counties that we surveyed, because we surveyed all of them. And up to now, I don't think there was anything near the kind of reports we have produced regarding a performance evaluation, specifically on development. And if you look at even the national average of development score by the governors, it is very low, because the national average stands, I think, at about 50.9%. That is a very low score, because if you're actually sitting an exam and your score is 50, that would be very low. Granted that devolution has been around for more than 8 years today. So again, based on these reports, I saw there was a hashtag trending starting Monday evening until even yesterday during the day on governors' rating. And this involved now citizens in an honest conversation. And we are extremely happy about that kind of an outcome, because we are not telling the people what to say. They are critiquing this report based on what they have seen in their respective counties, and also comparing with others. I have seen now people say from other counties saying, why don't you borrow lessons from your colleague governor from this other area? So that means now citizens are fairly armed with information that they can use to make decisions. Because at the end of the day, the Constitution of Kenya, Article 1, says the sovereign power rests with the citizens of this country. So reports like this empower citizens. It goes a long way in civic education processes to enable people make better decisions. You have also seen in this report there are governors whose approval rating is very high, but their development scorecard is very low. So it gives people...
We are going to come to that.
Yes.
We are going to come to that, because I want to get to understand why is... Why is it that somebody has a high approval rating and the rate of development, the development rating is actually low? What actually does that? We'll come to that. But before we go to that, before I take a break, Nairobi County. Nairobi County, I think, in terms of approval and development, it is the lowest.
Absolutely.
What will we, what do we say is the issue there? Because...
this actually, Nairobi County presents a very unique situation. Because it has several dynamics that are not available or with any other of the 46 counties. You realize that, number one, Nairobi County does not have a substantive governor. We have a deputy governor who is acting as a governor, who has only been in office, I think, for 9 months now, by September when we were conducting this survey. The second issue about Nairobi is last year there are functions that were transferred from the county government to the national government. Now, in this poll, our focus was county governments. So there are functions that belong to Nairobi County government, but currently being undertaken by the national government.
Okay, exactly.
Yes, they belong actually to the county government because that's what has been allocated under Schedule 4. That's why even the agreement that the former governor signed in last year agreed it was for a period of 24 months because they were not taken away. They were just transferred for that period and then they'll be reverted back. Third is we were ranking governors. So Nairobi, we have an occupant of the office of the governor in an acting capacity, not as a substantive governor. So we also established that perhaps there are challenges that she has been facing in terms of being able to fully implement any development plan she may have by virtue of being in an acting capacity. Because the law is very clear, as an acting individual, there are certain things that you are not able to undertake or to do. Then lastly, because again, I receive these kinds of concerns. Other people asking, why didn't we include NMS and all that? Number one, NMS is not recognized as a county government. And cannot be, I cannot now begin assessing, say, General Badi against Professor Kibwana.
And that is what I think would have been argued, that if we are looking at Nairobi County, we are seeing General Badi and NMS doing quite a lot of things in the county. So why is Nairobi not being ranked probably one of the best performing? We'll come to that. Let me take this break first.
No problem.
Now you're watching Counties in Focus. You're here looking at Governor's Rating 2021. It is a report that was released by ISS in conjunction with City Hub Company Limited. Now we take that short break.
Nairobi, are you ready? October is Dyslexia Awareness Month and the whole world will go red for dyslexia. Join us on 28th of October. Wear the red outfit as we light up the UAP on Mucho Red for dyslexia.
Where will you be watching the glow from? Does a child write B instead of D? Is a child phobic to the red pen due to the numerous X wrongs they get from teachers' marking pen? Do they refer to your child as a slow learner? Your child is simply dyslexic. To be part of the sponsor and for more information about dyslexia, kindly contact 0722 380 952. Let's go red for dyslexia.
Welcome to Lookup Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. When you first come in, we will be happy to receive you at our reception, then proceed to our cozy and well-equipped accommodation facilities. We aim to provide our guests with a unique, comfortable, and worthwhile experience. Here at Lookup Guest House, we provide our guests with a continuous supply of room amenities. A cool environment for all your retreat activities.
Lookup Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. For reservation, contact us on info@lookupguesthouse.org or call us on 0746 788 707.
Please make those payments and take dinner out the freezer. Enjoy your day off.
How was your day?
Great.
Did you pay the bills?
Abby did it.
And the plumber?
Abby did it.
Send money to your mom?
Abby did it.
Who's Abby?
Bank on WhatsApp with Abby, your 24/7 digital personal banker. Another digital innovation that gets things done. That's Africanacity. That's ABSA.
Did you take dinner out the freezer?
Want to grow your business? Broadcast your sermon, share birthday wishes, make funeral announcements, produce adverts and documentaries? Then book and advertise with us today by calling us on +254 700 893 542.
700 893 542.
Or email us on sales@look-up.tv.
there's one thing we normally say that expectation, it's the mother of manifestation. If you don't have an expectation, you cannot receive a manifestation.
Faith is unproductive without expectation. Because what expectation does is that it will create an atmosphere where faith now can produce.
Is it that because some does not come before God with the heart of expectation?
Expectation will also direct you to pray the right prayer.
When you have even a vision, expectation is the drive force that drives that vision. Because you will have a hope, you will have expectation.
Like, follow, subscribe, click the notification button. Join the Look Up TV movement now. Now.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us here on Counties in Focus on Look Up TV. We are looking at Governor's Scorecard. There's a report that was released by ISS in conjunction with City Hub Company Limited on Governors Rating 2021, rating governors based on development and approval. And in studio, I have Ben Mulwa, who is the lead consultant, ISS Africa Kenya, to help us break this down. We've been doing that. And before we went for a break, we were looking at Nairobi County. And Ben, before we went for a break, we were looking at just Governor Kananu, Deputy Governor Anne Kananu, and looking at Nairobi because it is the lowest. It has been ranked the lowest.
As I was explaining, there are certain functions from Nairobi County government that were transferred to the national government. And you realize that brings a complication in terms of the actual assessment of Nairobi. But again, there are also functions that were retained by the county government, like the components of trade, the components of agriculture, the components of education, and all that. So I want to believe that this score, especially on development, the responses were based on what they have seen Governor Kananu do, say, for the last 9 months she has been in office. And as I indicated, of course, now there's been that confusion even to the citizenry in terms of there are functions that are being undertaken by the NMS and all that. And again, we could not introduce NMS into this survey because that would be unprofessional. NMS is not a county government. Body is not a governor. So if I want to believe even the Council of Governors would have a problem with that kind of an assessment. So I think that was a fair representation of the outcome. But most importantly, again, when it comes to our approval rating, you find she scored, I think, about 13-point-something%, isn't it?
Yeah, 13.2.
Approval rating. Again, I have received people concerns that maybe that is too low or the other way around. But statistics can be very interesting in interpretation. You find by next year, Nairobi is going to have at least 3 million registered voters. The data we were working with, 2017, Nairobi had about 2.25 million registered voters. Now, if you take 13% of, say, even 2.5 million voters, that is in excess of 300,000 votes, almost 400,000 votes. That even Governor Professor Kibwana cannot get that in Makueni. Even Governor Paranya cannot get that in Kakamega. So the 13% is two-way. And in my assessment, granted that she's not she's not a substantive governor, and she has not sought election yet, that's a fairly high score.
For her?
Yes, for her. And one of the critical things that came out also during the interviews with the respondents was the fact that, like, for the period she's been in office, the residents of Nairobi have not seen her on the ground. Either launching or commissioning development projects.
And that is how we play politics in this country. If you're not seeing you, then you're probably not performing.
That's why, that's why I told you development means different things to different people. Like the residents of this area would want to see, have we seen roads being done? Have we seen health centers? Do we have water? Do we have new markets that are coming up and all those kinds of things? Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Let's look at Kivutha Kibwana,
yes,
he was ranked the best performing governor.
Yes.
Followed by
Mwangi wa Iria.
Mwangi wa Iria.
Yes.
Then Wycliffe Oparanya.
Yes.
What gave them, that kind of performance?
You remember I indicated to you the kind of parameters that we were looking at. And the most prominent issue for Makueni was the component of the universal healthcare. For the last about 5 or 6 years, Professor Kibwana has run a very successful universal healthcare program in Makueni that has ensured citizens can receive treatment once they are enlisted onto the program without paying a shilling at the hospitals. And it's been revolutionary, so to speak. And you see, the larger population of a county like that would be considered to be of average income. So when the burden of healthcare is lifted from those families, I can attest to you that you can visit almost every household in Makueni, and they can attest to you that they had a patient or they had somebody who was sick, who went to a dispensary or a hospital and received treatment and went back home without paying a shilling. And I think that is really revolutionary. Secondly, and you have seen even ratings from even international agencies. Professor Kibwana is the only governor in this country who can pride in a fully inclusive participatory framework as per the Constitution. For him, the component of citizen participation or public participation has been at the core of his governance. That's why even today, like if you go to the Makueni County website, you can find the list of all the contractors who are doing all kinds of projects and the values for that. Many other counties keep away that information because there are shady business deals they are doing with the shady contractors. So this component of accountability puts the residents of Makueni satisfied with being involved in the management of their affairs. When you come to a county like Murang'a, you notice that Kibwana is a second-term governor. Murang'a also has a second-term governor. In fact, the only second-term governor in Central Province or Central Region. And you find Mwangi wa Iria, when he came into office, he rolled out a program that has been at the hearts of the residents. He established the milk price stabilization, where the county government guarantees the milk prices, regardless of the season and regardless of the fluctuation of the prices based on demand and supply, especially by private entities. And as we are speaking today, we were able to establish the milk prices for Murang'a County. The farmers are selling their milk at 40 shillings per litre. Yet the average, even their neighboring counties, there are individuals who are selling for 18 shillings, 22 shillings, 34 shillings, and they keep fluctuating. That guarantee has stabilized the incomes of those farmers to a large extent. And a bulk of the residents of Murang'a are farmers. Even those who are in different businesses have 2 or 3 dairy cows in their homesteads. So that stability has really changed the fortunes of the people. Secondly, back in 2014-15, Governor Wairia introduced an avocado production plan for Murang'a County. And through that kind of initiative, which is now spreading slowly to many other counties across Kenya, that changed the fortunes of the farmers of Murang'a. You may be surprised. According to statistics from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, last year Kenya overtook South Africa as the biggest exporter of avocado out of Africa. And the largest percentage of those avocados were produced from Murang'a. According to data that is available, last year the farmers of Murang'a earned over 9 billion shillings from avocados alone. So these are things that are very dear to these people, and they feel that that has really been transformational. Of course, he also has a very elaborate scholarship program. I understand, I saw in the news on Monday, he was actually issuing or paying school fees for the over 3,000 kids that are sponsored fully 100% by the county government of Murang'a. Through their secondary education. It's full sponsorship from Form 1 to Form 4. So, I mean, with that kind of projects, you realize you have impacted every homestead in Murang'a. When you come to Governor Oparanya, he has been very big, especially on infrastructure and healthcare. Today, now, Kakamega has one of the biggest hospitals in the region. And this has taken time to build. So what we were able to establish from this kind of a research is second-term governors have probably the advantage of time. Of course, there are also those who are second-term governors, but who have performed very poorly.
And exactly.
Yes, but you find then that is out of their own will. These are individuals probably who are in office who are not willing or who have never had an interest to serve their people. Okay. Because I want to believe, for example, like the impact that they say the Universal Healthcare Project or the milk program for Governor Wairia or the health program for Governor Oparanya has had on their citizens. I want to believe, you remember Professor Kimana had a lot of challenges with the county assembly in the first term. I want to believe if we had undertaken a similar survey, say in the year 2016, you would have probably emerged as the worst performing governor. But you see, over time, these governors who are in their second time, they have had the advantage of time. Okay. When you look at Governor Wairia, that project that he introduced on avocado, say, 6 years ago, if he had been removed, say, in 2017, probably he would not be able to enjoy that kind of a score. Yeah. But there's also a unique case of first-time governors who are also doing exceptionally well. We have, like, Governor Sang, from Nandi, who emerged as the best performing first-term governor among the entire lot of first-term governors. Okay. And then this is an assessment based on the citizens. So there must be something that is doing right on the ground that the people are happy about. Because you realize his development score is very high, but his approval rating is very low. Same thing with, say, Governor Kiraitu Murungi. We have Governor Charity Ngilu, I think, in that bracket. We have, we have Governor Muthomi from Tharaka Nithi. These are first-term governors who have done exceptionally well, according to the residents of their respective counties. Yeah. But what I found most unique was Governor Nyoro of Kiambu County. Because Governor Nyoro has been in office barely 1.5 years by the time we were conducting this survey. Okay. Secondly, he came in as a deputy governor who assumed the office of governor after the removal of the former governor Waititu. And I was surprised by the result because in under 1.5 years, the residents of Kiambu gave him the highest approval rating in development. He has actually beaten other governors in central Kenya.
Yeah, he has a 63.6%.
Yeah,
I think the second 63.6.
Yeah, 63.7%. He's outdone people who have been there for 4 years, like Governor Waiguru, Governor Kimemia, and Mutai Kahiga. Yeah. So I found this to be a very unique score. And why I found it particularly unique and we would want to research more to understand, because you remember Governor Nyoro ran for office in 2013 and the people of Kiambu rejected him. And I want to believe he still held the same credentials he holds today. In 2017, he had to come under somebody. Probably who was popular for him to get elected as a deputy governor. But now, as a full-time or a substantive governor, he has changed the fortunes. So this begs the question in terms of citizens. What criteria are we looking out for the kind of individuals we want to elect into office? Because you find that his development scorecard is extremely high, 63%, but his approval rating is very low at 49%. So do the people of Kiambu prefer somebody who talks too much and does less? Or would they rather have an individual who is development-oriented and who talks less? Okay. Yeah, and because those are very interesting dynamics, and I think it brings to the subject you wanted us to talk about. Yes. Because you are going to realize throughout that report, we have governors. Like when you go to Kisumu, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, I think his approval rating is very high, about 66%, isn't it?
Yeah, 66.2%.
Yeah, 66%. But what is his development scorecard? 54%. So you find this is somebody, what that means is the residents of Kisumu, as it stands today, would not have any problem re-electing Professor Anyang' Nyong'o back into office. But the question is, they are not so satisfied with his development scorecard, but they are happy with the face and the person of Professor Anyang' Nyong'o. Go to Coast Region, we have Governor Salim Vuria, who is also serving his second term. You're going to find he is actually, I think he's #2 in approval rating in the country From Kwale, isn't it? At 77.1% of the number.
Exactly, 77.1%. That is approval rating.
Yes. So you're going to find Governor Muvuria has an approval rating of 77. So the people of Kwale would be very happy to re-elect him if the constitution would allow him to run for a third term.
Okay.
But what is his development scorecard?
42%.
42%. That's a margin of a whole of 30%. Yeah. That's a whole 30% difference. So would the people...
So they look at development and they say he has not done much in terms of development.
But we are happy with the guy. So probably the people of Kwale are happy with a politicking governor. Okay. And not a development-oriented or conscious governor. Okay. Same thing with Lamu in the same region. Mm-hmm. You find, I think, he's the worst performing Governor Fahim Twaha, Lamu.
He's the one
at 20.
He has 26.4% in terms of development.
Yeah, 26%. I mean, that is an E. That is a score of an E if it was an exam. Mm-hmm. But his approval rating is above 50%.
51.2%.
Yeah, 51%. So these people of Lamu would be happy to retain a character who is not doing anything for them. But maybe they just like his face or they like his style of politics. And this begs the question, one of the objectives we are hoping this research can achieve, and if you follow the conversations on Twitter, which ran for a whole 2 days, the idea is now the people can make a decision. Do we want a governor who invests his entire life in politicking, or do we want an individual who transforms our lives and we don't care about the politics? This presents an opportunity. There are those who also have been able to balance out their politics and their development. If you look at like Eastern region, like for example, Governor Alfred Mutua, in the Eastern region.
Yes.
His development scorecard is 64%?
64%.
And his approval is 62?
No, development is 68 and approval is 64.
Approval is 64.
Yep.
So you find this is an individual who has been able to balance his development agenda and his politics. So he has not invested in politics at the expense of development, and he has not invested in development at the expense of politics. Exactly. So there are those who have been able to provide that, because that is the feedback we receive from the people of Machakos.
All right.
Yes.
Let's look at why then do we have so much, like, why would we be looking at re-electing somebody and not looking at what he has done for us? Why is that the case here? Because I'm looking at Coast Region,
yes,
and all of them have a higher approval rating than development rating.
Absolutely.
Why is that the case?
We didn't quite delve now into, because after we got the research results or the poll results, this is an area we would want to research further, because as I mentioned to you, there are people who would maybe just choose to elect Brian, say, to become governor of Bungoma, because they like the way they see you speak on TV.
Yeah.
Wanapenda tu, and that's enough. That's enough. Whether you have a plan, whether you have ever done anything, it doesn't matter. There are those who get mesmerized by the monies that politicians splurge. So you're going to find, you go to a market center and unasikia mama wakisema, huyu alikuja hapa akatununulia chai, huyo tutampatia kura. So we are hoping through these kinds of researches, and we are encouraging many others, especially you in the media, also to interrogate this further. We are hoping that we can begin maybe to shape our conversations further, excuse me, towards transformative politics, where development probably should be received or getting more weight than the politicking. And this is not just unique in the counties. We have seen even it at the national level, whereby on a fair assessment, we have individuals with very good credentials, who have a history of massive, illustrious achievements, but they will not be considered for president. And then we end up also discussing of getting fascinated by people who can only speak very well, or who can mesmerize us with lies and that kind of things.
People who can pull a crowd.
Yeah, so I think it's a unique characteristic of the larger Kenyan population, which we may, and especially through discussions like what we're having today. And if the media would be able to lead from the front and emphasize on, perhaps we need to invest more on development than the politicking. Because what's the purpose of having a governor whose development scorecard is 20-some %, And those resources have been allocated to your county to benefit the people. But essentially, nothing is going on the ground, but you are happy to re-elect such an individual. Those are conversations that...
I think it answers quite a lot of questions that we ask when it comes to elections, because most of the time when we are getting into an electioneering period, like right now, we will say, these people, we are tired of these people.
Exactly.
But somebody then will argue, you're still going to elect.
You're still going to elect.
They have not done anything. Then it begs the question again, like, if your development record is 26-point-something%, your approval rating is probably 60-something%. You are likely to be re-elected, but you've not done much for these people. Then where does this money actually go to? Because you're being allocated
now,
this money.
Those are the other questions that we need to be able to interrogate further, because if your people as a county governor are not satisfied with what you're doing completely in terms of development, but they're okay with you just sitting in that office, essentially doing nothing, that I think is a bit unfortunate. And you may realize so far we have not had any research analyzing these two critical parameters, because we have to make a decision whether we want to be choosing populist leaders who can speak very well, who can even dance on podiums, but they have no development agenda. At the expense, like the case I gave you of Kiambu County, where Nyoro, probably even if he had run in 2013 independently, chances are very high he would not have been elected, because probably he does not speak as loudly as maybe his competition, or maybe he does not speak the political language that his competition speaks. But now when he got into office and took control of the county government, you can see what he's been able to achieve in 1.5 years. There is a possibility he could have continued to be rejected all through, because on the public face, he does not speak that attractive political language. So that's again a challenge to him as a governor, to understand how does he now balance his politics to be, because at the end of the day he can only be voted in by the people to be governor. So it is up to him and maybe his team to decide on how do they want now to improve maybe on his political scorecard, so that he does not entirely lose on that at the expense of the development.
And I think because you need to look at that, your next research will actually be focusing on why we elect people in terms of populists rather than somebody
rather than development conscious individuals.
And I think that quite answers why most of the time, because when we put them to task and ask them questions about development and what are you going to do for the people, these people are unable to answer.
Most of the times they are not able to give you a plan.
Because probably they have studied the minds of the Kenyan people, and they look at, they know Kenyans look at somebody who is always there in terms of speaking, making noise, in terms of just chaos most of the time. And that is the person.
And then there's also another very interesting dynamic that I believe plays a critical role. You realize, you know, like at any one given election, we normally have these political formations. Like say in 2017, we had the Jubilee Coalition and we had the larger NASA Coalition. The NASA Coalition. Now there comes in a challenge whereby it is imposed on the people, or it is coerced on the people that musiniangushe kama kiongozi wenu. So ile tunataka ni suti. Previously we used to have the 3-piece, now we have the 6-piece. So if we have the presidential candidate, so we must also have a governor from that political outfit, a senator, an MP, a woman rep, and an MCA. In that kind of an arrangement, we end up with individuals who do not meet any specific criteria. Especially for delivery, except the fact that they are aligned with the right political party framework. So that means that individual, when they go into office, it was not because they had any plan or they had any agenda. Their objective was to get elected. And they invested more in aligning themselves politically rather than building a tangible plan for the people they want to serve. And you see, offices of governors are very sensitive because these are executive offices and they have resources that are intended for the people. They are custodians of resources. The weight or the office of governor carries cannot be equivalent to that of a senator, for example, because the senator is just supposed to oversee these resources. Yeah. But it is the duty of the governor to put those resources to actual use. So when you find this poor rating, especially on development, even the national average is very poor, it means that there has been bigger investment or greater investment in the politicking rather than the development. And again, citizens eventually get carried in the euphoria, what we call the wave, the tsunamis, and those fancy words that are usually utilized during elections. They are hoodwinked into electing individuals who have no competency or capacity to deliver anything for them just because they belong to this party. Ukienda huko nasikia hii ni stronghold yetu. So hapa hatuwezi, bedroom, you know, that kind of terminology. Yes, so.
And I think we are running out of time. But before we wind up on this one, I'd like to understand, because we said the first-term governors, second-term governors had the advantage of time.
Oh, yes, oh, yes.
But we have second-term governors, or rather first-term governors.
Yes. Actually, it was very impressive to find that we have 5 first-term governors in the top 10.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have 5, which is very impressive from Governor Sang. We have Governor Ngilu, we have Governor Kiraitu, we have Muthomi Njuki. No, is it Muthomi, or we have, they were in the overall national score on development, in the top 10.
Top 10.
I think it's on the orange chart there.
Top 10, I have, we have Ngilu, Nyoro, Lenyangapuro, James Ongwae.
Yes. So you find that, we have Governor Nyoro making it into the top 10 of the best performing governors in terms of development, having been in office only for 1.5 years. We have Governor Ngilu there, we have Governor Sang there, we have Governor Lonyangapuo there. So it means, and if you critically analyze, for example, Governor Nyoro came in under very unique circumstances. That means that individual, even from the time he wanted to run for governor, say from 2013, he had a plan of what he wanted to do. It was not just about the politics. When you look at somebody like Governor Ngilu, he's not elected on the popular framework within Ukambani, which should be, say, the Wiper Party framework. That means she also had a plan of what she wanted to do if she's elected a governor. So it is not, she was not motivated by the political party arrangement or motivated by just going into office for whatever other selfish reasons any other person may have. When you look at Governor Lonyangapuo, he's a Kanu governor in a region that was the previous time considered to be very Jubilee. So that means again, and I think he beat a Jubilee candidate. That means that is somebody who went into office with a clear agenda of what he wanted to do for the people of West Pokot. So I think those are the unique cases where first-term governors, especially those who distinctly had a plan, can come out. Then on the flip side, we have also very poorly performing first-term governors within those political party frameworks, like Governor Waiguru. She's very vocal on TV and media and saying fancy things about she wanting to become deputy president and all that. But the people of Kirinyaga are very dissatisfied.
They are not feeling...
They are very dissatisfied with our work. We have Governor Kimemia in Nyandarua, who scored, I think he was the lowest in the entire... And the expectation, you know, would be this is a very experienced public servant who has been in public administration, rising even to the position of head of public service. So the expectation would be an individual like that, you probably would not compare him with somebody like Mutahi Kahiga, who was a teacher until he was nominated as a deputy governor by the late Governor Gakuru. Kimemia is more experienced in public sector governance than even Nyoro. Nyoro has largely been in the private sector, say with the World Bank and many other institutions. Kimemia is more experienced even than Waiguru. Waiguru has only been in public service, say, for the last 15 or 20 years. Kimemia has been there the whole of his life. So this means there are inherent issues for each individual governor, whether they really have a genuine agenda to serve the people or they just want to serve their political interests.
All right. So and I think we are going to end it at that. Just interesting that most of the time they get, when somebody has an agenda to work for the people, then they are going to do it.
Absolutely.
But when it is because of seeking some just popular, being popular when it comes to in the political front, then they will not deliver for the people.
I'll give you a very quick snapshot on that. You have seen very many cases of individuals, either in the national government, maybe people are removed from office on cases of graft. people are removed from parastatals on cases of graft. And the first thing they do is announce they want to run for office.
And they get
Trust you me, that is not an individual is going to, or who has an interest of the people. Those are not people who are coming down there to serve you.
Exactly.
They know there is a small kitty at the county level, and it will facilitate their inherent appetite for public resources.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ben Mulwa, for just helping us understand this and how we went about in just finding this information and ranking these governors from their probably the best performing into the worst performing. Thank you so much for making time for this.
Well, it is not me, it is the people.
It is the people. It is the people. And you taking the initiative to go to the people to find that information so that we can actually hold them to account.
Let each respective governor talk to their people.
Exactly. Now, they will talk to them. It's coming. We are going to 2022. We just hope that the people get to, give them an ear and make an informed decision based on whatever we have on the table right now.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now that does it for us here on Counties in Focus. Thank you so much for watching this. We have been looking at Governor's Scorecard based on the report that was released by ISS in conjunction with City Hub Company Limited, ranking governors in terms of development and approval. My name is Brian Amuai. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a lovely night.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through 0700 893 542 or send us an email to views@look-up.tv. We can't wait to hear from you.
Want to grow your business? Broadcast your sermon, share birthday wishes, make funeral announcements, produce adverts and documentaries? Then book and advertise with us today by calling us on +254 700 893 542.
700 893 542.
Or email us on sales@look-up.tv.
Please make those payments and take dinner out the freezer. Enjoy your day off.
Hey. How was your day?
Great.
Did you pay the bills?
Abby did it.
And the plumber?
Abby did it.
Send money to your mom?
Abby did it.
Who's Abby?
Bank on WhatsApp with Abby, your 24/7 digital personal banker. Another digital innovation that gets things done. That's Africanacity. That's ABSA.
Did you take dinner out the freezer?
The future of money is simple, like unlocking possibilities with a smile. And having the world in the palm of your hand. It's the ability to touch many lives at the same time and turn your dreams into reality. It's forgetting and still remembering. Simple is having everything that you love in one place. From the ticket to your next meal, to your ticket to the next holiday. It's an easy way to ask for a boost when you're low. And keeping track of everything on the go. The future of money is simple, and it's here. Download the new M-Pesa app today.
Nairobi, are you ready? October is Dyslexia Awareness Month and the whole world will go red for dyslexia. Join us on 28th of October. Wear the red outfit as we light up the UAP on Mucho Red for dyslexia.
Where will you be watching the glow from? Does your child write B instead of D? Is your child phobic to the red pen due to the numerous X wrongs they get from teachers' marking pen? Do they refer to your child as a slow learner? Your child is simply dyslexic. To be part of the sponsor and for more information about dyslexia, kindly contact 0722 380 952. Let's go red for dyslexia.
There's one thing we normally say that expectation, it's the mother of manifestation. If you don't have an expectation, you cannot receive a manifestation.
Faith is unproductive without expectation. Because what expectation does is that it will create an atmosphere where faith now can produce.
Is it that because some does not come before God with the heart of expectation?
Expectation will also direct you to pray the right prayer.
When you have even a vision, expectation is the drive force that drives that vision. Because you will have a hope, you will have expectation.
Like, follow, subscribe, click the notification button. Join the Look Up TV movement now.